Labor did say November payrolls up by 266,000. Joining us on the phone with his first reaction from the White House, National Economic Council Director Larry Kudlow. Larry, happy Friday. Good to see you, or at least talk to you.
And to you, Carl. Thank you very much.
So help our viewers understand the strength of the number, knowing that we had GM and census sort of clouding the picture, at least going into the print.
Oh, look, those numbers up 1 month, down another, cancel each other out. It's a push. I mean, look at the basic theme here. America is working. America is working. And by the way, the middle class workers are working. We'll get to their jobs, not just their jobs, but their wages. But you're scoring 266,000. And, Carl, don't forget, abstracting from all these things regarding the Census Bureau and the GM strike, you had plus 41,000 on the revisions. So actually, you got another 300,000 jobs month, if you will, 301,000 or whatever it is. These are very big numbers, and the interesting thing is on a trend line, you chart your 3-month movement, it looked like the economy was softening on the jobs front. Now the jobs front is coming back. That is showing more strength, and I'm thinking you're going to see a CapEx business investment follow through. And, of course, we know the housing industry is very strong as the Fed finally got straightened out and cut interest rates. So, look, bottom line, America's working. These are very strong numbers. These are happy numbers. These are sunny Friday numbers, Carl. Sunny and Friday numbers. Happy working Americans.
Larry, in all the years of this gym, I work with you, which was always a great pleasure. You're a great economic historian, too. People don't know that. Can you contrast this versus 50 years ago? Because isn't this number a very much better number than we were at this time, when we were at these levels 50 years ago?
Let's see. 50 years ago, you want to put me back into where, the 70s, or we haven't quite 80s?
Into stagflation, Larry. We were going into, we had higher interest rates. We went into a recession. We had terrible inflation. Do we have any of those things right now?
No. I mean, it's really interesting to me. So you're at 3.5% unemployment, dropped down a tick. Inflation, by the Fed's numbers, 1.4, 1.5%. So let's get this right. 3.5% unemployment is how much? A 50-year low, some odd? And at the same time, the inflation rate is about 1.5, 1.4%. It's sort of very cool here. We are having growth and jobs and wages. Maybe we'll get to the wages in a moment. We are having all those solid growth, prosperity things without any inflation. We have a steady, reliable, dependable dollar, which I think helps a lot. And so all these Phillips curves are broken, Jimmy. It almost doesn't matter. It's like if the unemployment rate were 10, the inflation rate would be 1.5. The good news is the unemployment rate is 3.5, and the inflation rate is 1.5. And I think over a couple blocks from where I am, in that big building with all those econometric models and hundreds of thousands of PhDs, I think they're finally figuring out that more people working successfully is a good thing, not a bad thing.
I don't want to wage inflation too.
Right. I don't want to be brash, Jimmy. I don't want to go out on a limb. But you've heard this before. More Americans working is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Okay, then, Larry, why do so few people in this country know that the stock market is doing so great? You and I saw those numbers yesterday. Weren't you astonished how few people know how good things are?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of the times we live in. You and I kind of play the optimistic side. You and I always take the pro-American side. It has a lot to do, I think, with who we are and who our fathers were working in World War II. For some reason, we don't have those attitudes, but I don't want to get it, at the personal level, Jimmy. It is what it is. It's a very, very good story. Headwinds, we had the Federal Reserve way too tight in 2018. But I think now that's going away. They took their foot off the brake. I noticed the balance sheet of the Fed is rising again. I think the monetary base and M2 are up about 14%, so that's good. We're not going to get any help from Europe, all right? That's regrettable. On the other hand, we are cooking up very close to two powerful trade deals. When I say powerful, not only are they well-crafted and will open the door for American exports because we're the most competitive in the world, but it'll add a lot to GDP. In fact, you know what, Jimmy? I was just noodling yesterday. China phase one probably could be half a point or more GDP next year. USMCA could be half a point or more next year. So that's really something. So I'm playing it on the optimistic side.
Larry, it's David. Taking you up on that discussion of trade, you know, you joined us, I think it was November 12th, or joined CNBC, and you were saying then a deal with China is close. Is it still close, and can we expect the tariffs to hit on the 15th of December as still planned?
Well, let me say this. The deal is still close. It's probably even a wee bit closer than when I first made that statement in November, but I will stay with the statement. As you know, the president this past week in both London and Washington, POTUS is saying the deal is moving along very well. Having good discussions with China. You probably know the deputy level met again, I don't know, yesterday or the day before yesterday. POTUS again said yesterday we're moving along in the right direction. Now, he'll say, of course, it's got to be a good deal. There's a few buttons that have to be buttoned, and they're working on that, as you might guess. I can't speak specifically on the remaining issues, but the reality is constructive talks, almost daily talks. We are, in fact, close. With respect to your question on December 15th, David, there's no arbitrary deadlines here, okay? There's no arbitrary deadlines. But the fact remains December 15th is a very important date with respect to a no-go or a go on tariffs. These are presidential decisions, David. I can't make them here. I'm not even going to forecast them here. It's going to be totally up to POTUS. But December 15th is an important date.
You know, Larry, these talks often get marked by a phrase. It was final laps by Mnuchin in May. It was short strokes with you on November 15th. Are we still in a short strokes phase, or what phrase would you use to describe talks right now?
Intense. I'll say.
Okay.
I mean, I say intense because this is a very important matter. As we've discussed many times with you fellas when I've been down here, the president has changed the narrative on China. He is defending the country. He is defending the American worker. He's defending the farmer. He's defending the manufacturer. And unfair trading practices that have been used by China for many years, President Trump will not tolerate that. That's why I use the word intense. This is a very important matter. Now, the President said, I think, when he was in London just before he left, that correctly pointed out the U.S. economy is rising and in good shape. The Chinese economy is declining and in bad shape. On the other hand, he has said, we're getting close. The talks are constructive, and if we can make a deal that works for both sides, we'll make a deal that works for both sides. You can't put any guarantees on it. I would stay with short strokes, but I would add the word intense because there is so much at stake here when you go through the various categories. I mean, Jimmy Cramer, you, above all people, know, you're the most encyclopedic stock market guy there is. Technology and inventions and innovations in technology are the driving force, the creative, dynamic force that makes the American economy the best in the world. So, Jim, we can't afford, we must not permit any country, China or whoever, to willy-nilly steal our breakthroughs in technology and advanced microprocessing and, related to 5G. We can't let that happen. And so the president is sticking up, not just for farmers and auto workers and manufacturers. The president is sticking up for people in the technology sector, which includes, by the by, the financial services sector. So that's another part. When I say intense, I'm saying the growth implications here could be terrific. Okay? The diplomatic implications could be good, although we worry about national security. But in straight economic terms, when you get right down to it, our family jewels are the technological inventions and innovations and applications that, are our God-given rights to practice. And we just can't let other countries steal it.
I could not agree with you more. And I think we have to be willing to walk away if they keep stealing, Larry. If they keep stealing our IP, can't we just walk away and win the trade war? Not compromise, but win.
Well, I will tell you this. The president has said many times, if the deal is no good, if the assurances with respect to preventing future theft are no good, if the enforcement procedures are no good, he has said we will not go forward. We will walk away. He has said that. He agrees with at least the spirit of what you're saying. But as a very clever and tough-minded negotiator, he will use the tariffs, but he will use the negotiating table. He's using both. We got two of the best, my colleagues Bob Lighthizer and Secretary Stephen Mnuchin. They're working the front lines. Our whole trade team is involved. So, your point is well taken, and the president has said that if we cannot get the enforcements, the assurances, then we will not go forward. Now, I don't want that to sound bearish. That's not my intent. I'm merely responding to your point. You know why? I got to get you down here. You need to come and sit with President Trump for 30, 40 minutes and talk about this, all right? Well, I'm going to let me work on that and put that together. He is a great admirer of yours, and he loves your spirit on the China story. So I'm going to get that together.
Thank you. We'll do it. I'm
just make sure we get him back, Larry.
I'm available next year. I'm available.
You may never. If I get my pal, former partner Jim Cramer down here, you may never see him again, Carl. Who knows?
That's what we're afraid of.
Well, you're my friend from way back. Thank you, Larry.
Fed, we know it.
Kudlow and Cramer. Man, we killed it. We killed it.
The D.C. version.
Oh, Lord.
Thank you, Larry.
Larry, thanks.
Kind. Very kind.
Thanks, fellas. All good. Take care.
Kudlow,
Bye-bye. You bet.
Director of the National Economic Council.